Once you have the exact right spot, you'll see that you'll be able to hit him with your projectile as well as your missiles, and his projectiles that he shoots out will just go right by your feet and won't actually hurt you. Once he's done, it's time for the 4th level of the game, and it's another one of the vertical levels where you're going from the top to the bottom. There's some new enemies in this stage that can get pretty bothersome. You have these claw arms that come out of the walls, and you have to shoot the eye joint, which is the very first part of them, in order to destroy them. And once you do, they send out a large array of projectiles going out in different directions. When you destroy them, make sure that you stay exactly over the eye so the projectiles don't run into you. Once you enter this corridor, it's time for the mini boss of this stage. This crab enemy has a lot of projectiles it fires out as it moves along the screen. And there's really no exact strategy, it's just get in front of them and keep firing at them and do your best to avoid the projectiles. They move rather slowly, and if you time it correctly, you should be able to dodge in and out of the projectiles, but it may take a little bit of practice to get used to that battle. Overall though, this stage ends up being pretty wide open, so I don't think this one's as hard as some of the other stages in the game. Once you go through this corridor, the screen once again turns solid black, and you're gonna have the real big boss of this stage. He's a rather large enemy, and you're gonna have to float around either left or right side. Pick whatever side you want to go through, and the tough part is going through the spikes as they come out. You gotta make sure that you're quick about it so you can avoid actually being punctured by the spikes. You can see that the hit detection is a little bit off, and I'm able to actually get hit on the top part of my body and not actually take damage from it. After you get past the second set of spikes, you have to actually fight the boss. Work your way around to the eyeball and stay just directly in front of it and keep shooting as fast as possible, and you should be able to avoid really taking any damage. It can't fire directly at you, and the only projectile that can hit you is on the left side of the screen, in which case you should be able to deflect it or it'll just go right past you. Once he's done, it's time to move on to stage number 5. This stage is a lot smaller than the previous levels, and there's a lot of different platforms that are throughout the level, so you gotta be careful, and it's a little bit hard to maneuver through. This stage can get real difficult with the amount of enemies coming at you as well as how small the areas are. So you better be used to your speed movement already at this point in the game, or you're going to find yourself running into walls rather quickly. When you enter this area, it's time for the mini-boss of the stage, and it's 3 robots moving up and down with the same fire that I have. Staying about the middle of the screen, you should be able to dodge all their weapons that they fire out, and just keep mashing the fire button. It doesn't matter which one you hit. Just keep firing and they should go down pretty quickly. The second part of the stage introduces these lasers, and this can be a real pain because you're going to have only a couple seconds to go through the lasers, as well as dodging everything that's coming at you. Don't make your way through the lasers until they're about halfway through the screen. That way you should have plenty of space between yourself and the wall on the right side, so anything coming at you should be able to hit. This level really is non-stop and you have really small areas. So if you can get through this, you should have no problem being able to complete the rest of the game. Once you break down this wall, it's time for the boss battle of this stage. This giant robot has a lot of firepower. However, if you stay at this one spot, he'll never be able to hit you. So just stay here and all his projectiles will fly around you, never being able to hit you, and you can just keep laying in the fire and get on to the next level. Stage number 6 is our final level of the game that we have enemies to deal with. The real last level of the game is just an escape sequence getting out of here. So this is the last one you're going to have to deal with actual enemies in the game. And of course, being the final stage, you have a few more things to throw at you, which can be a real pain. These fireballs are probably the absolute worst enemies in the whole game. If you can do it, let them form together and they cause a phoenix to appear, which will charge up the top of the screen and disappear. However, if you shoot any of the fireballs, which is really easy considering how many things are on screen, and what happens is once you defeated one, they stop forming together and start to hunt you down, so it becomes a lot of enemies clustering around you. You need to be really careful. Right here is a real big problem spot. Once you're about the top of the screen and it closes for the second time you get to see, charge through it as fast as possible to get past it. Right afterwards is the mini-boss for this level. This boss is a real pain. Just stay towards the middle of the top of the screen and just keep firing. Just cross your fingers that none of the projectiles are able to hit you and you're able to defeat it before it's ever able to hit you. If you want to try it, you can actually take out the eyeballs to the left and right of them to stop a lot of the fire. However, hanging out in the middle of the screen is pretty much just as effective in destroying the other enemy's projectiles, so just really focus on the center eyeball. Another real problem in this level is the flying brains. If they get unleashed from their containing cells, they latch on top of you and then cause you not to be able to fire for a period of time, and obviously that can be really dangerous. Watch out for the giant laser that's similar to the ones that we saw in the previous level. There's a few of them, but thankfully you shouldn't have too much trouble with these. It's just moving in the right spot